still a chance, we can make it if we hold on, hold on, hope. It's what I'm saying, but the words don't come out right. Who's inside my mind? Who's inside my mind? Everything is alright, but I keep seeing ghosts in the daylight. Who's inside my mind? Who's inside my mind? Everything is alright, but I keep seeing ghosts in the daylight. I try not to listen, but I can't turn it off. I'm floating around like a lost astronaut. I try not to listen, but I can't turn it off. I'm coming in hot, baby, ready to go. Who's inside my mind? Who's inside? Everything is alright, but I keep seeing ghosts in the daylight.
What's up, everybody? How we doing? I just love that song. I absolutely love that song. It pumps me up every time.
It's a catchy
Isn't it?
little number.
Isn't it? And it's so fitting for the paranormal field. And by the way, that is called Ghosts in the Daylight. There's a couple of different people who do their own renditions of it. I'm trying to still figure out who that one is. But that's awesome. I have the whole song and I just blast it every time I need like a pick-me-up. I love it. So welcome, everybody. We are here for the Paraverse podcast tonight. I am continuing our reconnecting, and I'm bringing back some history with Scott, the beautiful Scott from Paranormal and History.
Thank you very much, Buddy. Say the beautiful bit again. Oh, I like that. It's not every day I get called beautiful, but it's been a while.
It has, brother. It has. It's been a couple months at least, and I'll tell you what. There's very few podcasts that I watch that are. I mean, there's a lot that speak a lot of truth and are very blunt and very honest. But yours, I love. I just love yours. Yours is just hilarious. You just don't care.
No,
and I love it. I absolutely love it. So tonight, guys, we're going to have some fun. We're going to reconnect, find out what Scott's been up to and what Paranormal and History is up to, and talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about, because it's just a catch-up session. So first of all, brother, for those who don't know, who are you? And talk about Paranormal and History. Where did that come from first?
I hate being asked this because you never know where to start. Well, my name's Scott, and I'm co-founder of Paranormal and History, along with my partner Sarah. We started back July 2020 time. We ran for about 2 years there. We had to shut the page because of trolls. So we started a new page last July. So basically, we do what we say. We try and combine the paranormal with the history, because you can't have one without the other.
No.
No. We have an American team and we've got an Australian team as well.
Wow.
We just newly acquired a couple of lovely ladies for our Australian team. So we do quite a few podcasts where we interview. Well, we do really interview now. When we first started out, we used to interview. The old 20 questions on a sheet carry on.
Yeah, that's not me. Like I have a notebook right here, just so you guys know. But as you can see, there's nothing on it. I've gotten away from. I've never gone off a script or and I think you feel the same way, brother. If I'm going to talk to somebody, just like with the spirits, I want to find out who they are, and I don't want to talk about what's your best paranormal evidence. No, screw that. It's like, what's the funniest thing? What's the one that had you all, pissing your pants laughing? What's the one that, who's the one who always has to go to the bathroom? That's what I want to know. I want to know that stuff.
Exactly. If you're going to, as you say, right, you're going to talk to them. See, we did start with, because we'd never done it before, so we'd watched other shows, and you try and do what other shows do, but after, I don't know, 4 or 5 shows, we thought, this isn't us, because we're Scottish, we don't do formal, no chance. And we thought, so we just, binned that. And we did have a couple of guests on where you would ask them a question and they would, would say, have you ever had a paranormal experience? And they would say, yes.
Oh, we've talked about this before.
We talked about this before, And I said, well, can you tell me about it? Yes. So, go on and tell me about it then. You feel like a fishing rod out trying to hook, reel this in.
Hey, and I've had a guest like that too. It's like I said, what's your favorite location and why? This place because it's spooky.
That's honestly.
Okay.
I don't know. I like a lot of places. You say, well, can you name one? Not off the top of my head. You think, I may as well just go to my own funeral watch, I'm off, But, I mean, you just see we don't care. We don't. We believe, obviously we do with respect, As I say, we do podcasts and I try and mix the guests up. I think, people want variety. Yeah. So we have, with paranormal teams on, with mediums on, with authors on, actors, film directors, singers. The singer on a couple of weeks ago. And people say, what's that got to do with the paranormal? I say, well, it's all related. It's not just paranormal. Like the Scottish singer, the girl we on, she does a lot of Scottish folk music, which is historical.
Yeah.
So there's always a time. Every now and again, I'll bring on a random guest, I'll find them on Facebook and haunt them until they say yes.
Pretty much.
Nothing to do with the paranormal or nothing, but it's just to throw something different in the pot.
That's the whole premise for the Paraverse. It's like, this is exactly what I wanted to do. And then, like I was telling you backstage, and by the way, folks, I do know we are a little behind schedule. That's because Scott and I were just bullshitting. We're just sitting backstage talking, hanging out, having a good time. It always happens. We were like, okay, it's going to start at this time. 20 minutes later, oh shit, we got to go live. Oh, fuck. All right. But no, and like that's the thing with the Paraverse. Like I've had a couple of shows in the past like 2.5 years I've been doing this, and the Paraverse I just wanted to be open for everybody. It's who cares? Whatever you want to talk about, let's have some fun. The audience makes the show, and we were saying this backstage too. If you do, I don't know, like I know Liz Milne. And her group that she Best Friends Paranormal, they all do different things. Like there's I know some crocheting, there's some of the some artwork. There's a whole bunch of different things. I know her daughter Eunice does some lotions and stuff like skincare. And if you guys want to come and talk about that, fuck it, let's go. Let's have some fun with it. But speaking to the audience, let's say hello. We have some people in the room right now, so welcome first of all. We got Sarah Walker joining in.
That's my partner.
There it is. Welcome, Sarah. We have Laura Dawson. How you doing? Good evening.
She's one of ours. She's actually in the next room. Sarah and Laura's in the next room. I don't mean that in a funny way. They're just, they're playing the expo. I don't know. They're doing something. I mean,
that's awesome. Eileen Murray, welcome joining us from YouTube.
Eileen is from Phantom Seekers Paranormal. We've had them on a couple of times. We had them on last night actually. Irene and Nicola. Irene. Sorry, Eileen. She's going to shoot me.
Yeah. Well, either way, welcome everybody. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, whatever, put them in the chat. We'll bring them up. We'll talk about them. And for those listening in on the US side and are having a hard time understanding Scott, a little bit of an accent. Love you, brother. There is closed captions available.
and Scottish.
A little bit. And that's the one thing I love. I love hanging out and chatting with you, brother, because I remember the first time listening on your show, I'm like, what does he say? He's got a little bit of an accent. And it's been, I don't want to say a joke, but it's just been kind of funny because your accent is so strong. A lot of people don't. You have to get an ear for it. And I know we probably here in the States, we have a little bit of an accent, but I mean, some of you guys, I have no idea what you're saying. I love y'all, I respect y'all, but I got no fucking clue.
The thing is, I'm Glaswegian,
Okay.
and for Glasgow, in case people don't know what that is, and Glaswegians have a habit that the longer they talk, the longer they speak, the faster they get. But we don't realise we're doing it, and I understand myself perfectly. I don't know what everybody's problem is because I know exactly what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And, I can always answer myself as well and understand my own answers.
See, now that's the thing. I do the same thing. I talk to myself too, and some of the things I say, I'm worried. I'm worried about me. I think I need to tell myself to go get some help.
If you're standing in a bus station or a supermarket talking to yourself, you do get funny looks, but you still get a decent conversation with yourself.
You're right. And it's funny. I actually I put out some new merch, and the one is a windbreaker. It has my logo, this guy on the front of it, and on the back it's a ghost, and it says, "I'm not normal, I'm paranormal." And every time it's like, that's my explanation anymore. It's just like, just look at the back. I'm just not normal. I
think we were talking about this last night as well. That's a nickname for Glaswegians, is a Ouija. Okay. Irene's from Edinburgh. Irene, I said that again, didn't I? I said Irene again. Jeez, Irene. She's from the East Coast, but she's fine. She's all right. We're in the West Coast.
Have you ever heard, brother, in your adventures, have you ever heard like some deep Southern U.S. people talking with a real strong accent that you just can't really understand what they're saying? Like Boomhauer from King of the Hill type stuff. Have you ever heard that? Mm-hmm. I think that's the only way we can really relate to some of these people who may not be able to understand you. That's like the best like relation. It's awesome though.
We've got quite a few guests, it's sort of down in England as well. And, I always talk to a guest before the show, a week or two before the show. I like to keep in touch with a lot of guests, because they're not just a guest, you build up a friendship with them, and some people say, I'm on your show next week, please talk slow.
See, I always, if I'm ever on a show, if I get invited to a podcast, I apologize right away because I don't know what I'm going to say. Even on my show, I mean, I don't have to apologize, it's my show, but if somebody says, I've seen your show, or do you want to come on? I'm like, well, first I'm going to apologize because I don't know what I'm going to say, what's going to come out of my mouth. I just wing it. I mean, obviously, if I'm on someone else's show, I'll act a little bit, more, I don't want to say professional, but you know what I mean. I'll be more
respectful, I think,
Yeah, that'll fit. But anyway, so I love the name Paranormal in History, first and foremost. I always did. And honestly, and we were talking about this again backstage, if you're going to be in the paranormal field, you have to know your history. You have to know your history. And a little nickname I've always used for a paranormal investigator is an active historian. And what I mean by that is we are actively interacting with history. So I wanted to ask you, so for you guys, what part of the history is so important in the paranormal? Like what does the history really drive? Like, what is the fascination?
The fascination, Sarah was a kind of history buff. There's some parts of history that I do like. It's just, it's hard to describe. It's just, so much has happened in history, so we're actually doing a show tomorrow night about events in history that changed the way we live today. A lot of people there don't realise just how much history plays a part in our everyday lives. And these people that have lived before, I've said this in a few shows. There were people, they had lives. They were, mothers, fathers, whatever. They did things, sometimes were important. Some people were just everyday, running mill farm, whatever they were, and they deserve to be remembered. And it's not that we try and teach people. We'll do stories, podcasts, and we try and be as accurate as we can.
Of course.
Wherever. But we just feel the draw is history is so fascinating. And I've learned, the whole team has so much since we started doing this and started digging into it. And excuse me, I've had a cough for about 3 weeks, by the way. I'm just warning you, I cannot get shot at.
You're good,
But
brother.
also, the history with the paranormal side is we've done sort of investigations and we'll get names. Probably you've done it yourself as well, buddy. You'll get names, dates, whatever, and you go look back, for this one particular name, and you find a name that's associated with that location. It's a bit of validation, and it gives you something to build on. We're big believers. And we'll go to one location, some locations once, never get back. But we're big believers in keep going back to the same location. We're doing a place called Loudon Kirk. Just now, it's a graveyard. A Kirk is an old Scottish name for a church. And so it's Loudon Kirkyard, Loudon Churchyard. And we've been doing it for about 2 years, and we've managed to establish 4 spirits that are there, what they did, in their lifetime. And the 2 of the spirits lived at nearby cottages, which is maybe about a quarter of a mile from where the Kirk is. And we've been lucky enough to get the owners of the cottages on board. It's the original buildings that were there in the 1800s. And it's putting each part of the puzzle together.
Yeah.
And building up who these people actually were and still are.
Yeah, let's be honest, they still are. I agree 100%. And Eileen's sitting there saying it's good to be able to validate any evidence as historical fact. Absolutely. And somebody once asked me, what do I love about the paranormal? Why the paranormal? And I mean, you could sit here and ramble off 20 reasons, but for me, the number one thing is, when was the last time you talked to somebody from the 1800s?
Mm-hmm.
We talk to people from now all the time, but to sit here and talk to like these historical figures, or even some that aren't really well known, that's to me a blessing. We were all given that gift and that fascination for this field to go out and talk to these people. What better way to get historical facts than through the horse's mouth, so to speak? Go
exactly.
Like for me, one of my favorites is the Whaley House in San Diego, California. Notoriously haunted. They even made it into kind of like a walkthrough. Like you can buy tickets and walk through and do a guided tour, and they have ghost walks through that. My team and I actually caught Thomas Whaley on an SB7. And for those of you who don't know who Thomas Whaley is, he is the obvious owner, the original owner of the Whaley House. And he was the original sheriff and out in San Diego, like when it was first started. And he's so laid back. He is so laid back, a lot of fun. I asked him what it's like to die. My entire team looked at me in shock. They're like, did you really just ask that? And I'm like, yeah. And we got a sigh and then cold. It's cold. Okay. It is cold to die. Got it. You get cold. Got it. Okay. And there was some rumors about they have a clothesline in the back. Now, back then, they used the metal wire clothesline for their stuff. And there was a rumor about being decapitated. There was I guess a daughter or something that was, she was decapitated. She was running and playing, not paying attention, and right through, this clothesline. I didn't buy it because clotheslines are supposed to be, pretty good height up. So how did she do this? And we asked Thomas, hey, about this girl who passed away. How did she pass? And he flat out said sickness, flu. And we said, okay, well, can you say it again just to validate what you're saying, so we make sure it's not anything? And same voice came through and said sickness, flu, died. Okay, so she died of a flu. And we told the historical society, we're like, look, this is what we got, so you guys need to change your little tour.
It's when you get it straight for the horse's mouth, so to speak. And it's fascinating. We did a location about 2 years ago. It's called Caldwell, Caldwell House, and it was a stately home. It was built 1720, 1723. The date's kind of disputed, but it was owned by a wealthy family back then. They lived in it up until early 1900s. And they just couldn't afford it. And obviously, it was the ancestors lived in it. And there's two different stories about this location. One is it was, and I hate using the word, it was a children's mental hospital. The other one is that it was a care home for the elderly.
Okay.
We spent about 2 months there doing, I don't know how many investigations, and we managed to build up relationship with kids that were there. We managed to contact a gentleman that was there, and there was also a woman. We called her the matron, because the kind of evidence and the feeling we were getting was this woman was in charge, and she didn't want people talking. We had several EVPs. One particular one was a woman saying, "Shh, they can see you." And it was clear as a bell. I got a whispering lady, which was really, really weird, because, long story short, I was sitting there, the knee and meth meter sitting at my feet, and with the necrophonic app on, and this lady's voice, and I heard it next to me. We managed to catch it on camera, but we could not figure out what this lady was saying. And at first we thought it was Latin. And so I sent it to, I don't know, about a dozen different people, saying, can you tell me what was said? And it was in, excuse me, Bill Martin, who eventually broke it down for me, and he'd done it on a show. And he says, she's actually asking you, is your light better now? He says, watch your footage. You get the EMF meter and it goes to red. He says, so you move it over a bit and it goes to red again. And then she says to you, is your light better now?
It's funny. We were saying earlier, these spirits that we talk to, they're still the same. And it makes it a lot of fun, because if we stay the same personality-wise, which would make sense, in the next life or the next chapter or next journey, whatever you want to call it, there's a lot of people in trouble when I go. One of them's in the room. One of them's in the room.
Oh, he needs a haircut, actually, don't you think?
A little bit.
I don't know who he means trouble, whether he means you or I.
Either way, see, there's certain people that are dangerous together. Raymond and myself, that's one. Howard and me, you and me. There bad things happen. Bad things will happen. And Bill saying, and today's closed captions decide not to work.
No, I don't think you get them in Scottish, Bill. I do apologise. I will try to talk slower, but there's no guarantees.
Just a bunch of question marks. Good luck.
It's when you get evidence with that, and the other thing about history is I love, and I've spoken to a few people that do this, to reading headstones.
Yes.
I've said before, I've done it myself. I won't put my hands up. You go into a graveyard or a cemetery and that's a nice one, that's a nice one. But you never take the time to read them.
Yeah.
And so if it was some time I thought, I need to read. And There's one particular one in Greyfriars Kirk in Edinburgh, right down the bottom. This thing is massive. Beside the house, this headstone, and it's got the names and the dates and stuff. And this family had 2 kids that died very, very young. I think one was 1 year old, and the other was 2 year old, within a year each other. So you see stuff like this, and then the husband died before the wife. He died less than a year before his wife. So you start to wonder, well, I wonder what happened to the kids.
Yeah.
Why did the kids pass away so early and so close to each other? And did the wife die of a broken heart? Is that why she passed so soon after her husband? So it starts your mind,
Yeah, and it's always possible. And
Freaking
see,
away.
for me, it's I love going to the cemeteries for those too. And like I love the older headstones. Like nothing against the newer ones, but let's be honest, healthcare is a lot better. So people do live, a little bit longer. But I love going to the old section of the cemeteries and doing just that. Seeing if there's maybe a relation, or if there's someone with a similar name, or and I look for those too. But the one for me is the military, and I love looking at the military headstones, because I say thank you to everybody, whether they lived a full life or they didn't. I just say thank you. And that was really prominent down in New Orleans. I don't know if you saw for the Global Ghost Hunt, brother, but Mackenzie, the Wicked Queen, and I, we went down to New Orleans, to Louisiana. And Howard was down visiting his daughter. His daughter passed away, Jessica, and he was making her site look really pretty. He did a great job with it. I didn't take any pictures of that out of respect for him and his family, but I did look around and I saw a lot of military, and I'm sitting there like, oh wow, like they don't even have that job title anymore. They got rid of that. And I'm seeing who's in the same thing as I was, and I took pictures of they have all the branches of the U.S. military on the walls of these mausoleums, and it really is humbling to see all this, and it really puts into perspective what life is really about. It's not about the now; it's about later, and it's about the past. The now is just going to be history later.
Let's face it, the now's now gone.
Yeah. Yep.
2 seconds ago, that's in the past.
Absolutely. Eileen's saying, I love a walk in a graveyard, working out family connections and their stories. Yeah. So Eileen's right there with you. So before we go on our commercial break, everybody always has their favorite point in history. They always have their favorite historical event. They always have some type, like for me, as much as it was I don't want to say a black mark, but it was a tragic time for us in the U.S., was Pearl Harbor, World War II and Pearl Harbor. Reason for it, because the Seabees Construction Battalion in the Navy was created then after Pearl Harbor. And to me, that's one of my favorite. That's my favorite point in history. What's yours, brother? What's your favorite?
My favorite period of history is the Tudor times, Henry VIII. And it's I just recently finished a series of posts on his wife's and on Henry himself. I think he's no disrespect to the rest of British monarchs. I think he's probably, to me, he's the most famous monarch in UK history, and he had the biggest impact. One of the most brutal as well, don't get me wrong, but he made, to me, we're going to be talking about this tomorrow night, actually. It was just the whole guy himself, exactly what he did for the UK's whole reign. So it's Henry VIII, Tudors. That's my
That's a good one. That's definitely a good one. And it's funny. A lot of people might think that Gettysburg for me would be the top for me because I'm from Pennsylvania. That's where we're at right now. But no, to me it's more than that. It's more than just Gettysburg. Don't get me wrong, Gettysburg's amazing, absolutely amazing. But I don't know. I always wanted to go visit Pearl Harbor, show my respects. I've always wanted to go to Normandy. I've always wanted to go visit a lot of these sites because when you're in the military, you get that sense of family, and that's part of your heritage. And to go there and see it firsthand, to me, would be a dream come true. So, all right, guys.
I told you, when I've been to Hampton Court Palace 3 times, that was one of Henry VIII's palaces, and Tower of London as well, obviously. But just to stand at the archway before you get into the courtyard at Hampton Court, and even just get into Hampton Court itself, and you're standing there thinking, this is where Henry VIII stood. Henry VIII walked along this corridor, and so did, his wife and every, Cardinal, the whole shebang. And you're standing in the same place as these people stood, 500-600 years ago. It's just, it blows your brain. If I had one, it would blow your brain.
I know the feeling. By the way, that was Jonathan Myers from Crossover Paranormal Society. Check it in with us over on YouTube.
Or afternoon.
Whatever it is. If you haven't seen Jonathan, go check him out, guys, at Crossover Paranormal Society. Cops, and great guy. Absolutely great guy. I think you get on with him pretty well, brother. I really do.
Is he nuts?
He's actually very quiet. We call him good old boys. He's a good old boy. He's a really good guy, though. He's a brother to me. I love him.
I'll give him a wee look up.
Maybe you could break him a little bit. You could break him into our sanity.
Possibly. I've broken a few people in my time.
Oh, I would love to see him go nuts.
I mean, the more you talk to people and your kind of way of thinking, the more you convert them, you bring them over.
Come to the dark side. Come to the dark side. So, all right, guys. It's that time. We're going to take a quick commercial break. So don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we're going to talk more, obviously, with Scott, because why not? He's here. And I actually have a very special announcement. So don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back. Told you we'd be back quick. It wouldn't be long. Before we continue on with my brother here, Scott, I do have a couple of announcements. First and foremost, I have the dates. For those of you who saw the last show, I announced that the Wicked Queen and I are bringing back Perry Unity Day. It's happening. It is happening. I have the dates, and here is the updated flyer, logo, thumbnail, whatever you want to fucking call it. There it is. Perry Unity Day 2024, September 26th through the 28th. It's going to be a 3-day event full of fun, excitement, and of course, the not so normal. So the first day, the 26th, will be a hangout meet and greet where hopefully, if we can wrangle these people up, you get to meet people like, obviously me and the Wicked Queen, hopefully Brian, Mr. Get him over here, Howard, and a bunch of others. And I want you guys to notice one thing from the original one. We added Spectre Radio. Aaron Hoffman, my brother. He's bringing it back. He's having some fun. All these people are in support of it. And it's not just going to be about the Wicked Queen and myself. It's about everybody. This event is for everybody. You want to promote yourself, promote your team, promote your location, promote anything you want to promote. Come, show up, represent September 26th, 27th here in Pennsylvania. And we will be hanging out doing this meet and greet on the 26th. The 27th, we are going to everyone's bucket list, Gettysburg. You heard me right. We are all getting together, convoying down and tearing up the town. We're going to have some fun. You get to see all these historical locations, have fun, cross it off your bucket list, maybe do some investigating. Who knows? Who knows what we'll come up with? And then the 28th, there is a local fair here in Pennsylvania called the Bloomsburg Fair. We will be going. It is the last day, so they're going to have some really great deals on some stuff. Get some food, have some fun, hang out, and again, bring your merch because you'll be able to get represented. I highly suggest if you have business cards or anything like that, great time to get out and promote. There will literally be thousands of people at this fair. We're going to have a great time, but again, it's all about promoting you, your team, and showing everybody what kind of community we really are and have a great time with it. We're going to have some fun. So mark your calendars, guys. If you are interested, let me know. I will be starting an event on Facebook for Para Unity Day 2024. Please RSVP so I know who's all coming and who's all going to be represented. But again, it's for everybody. We're just to meet up, have some fun, and hopefully Scott can come.
Well, it's a commuting time that gets me.
It's not that far. Just a short drive. And as always, folks, I have to, and because I want to, shout out all of my friends and family over at Parapost Network Central, Paralinks, and pretty much everywhere. I know, Scott, you know about Parapost Network Central. You can find this show and many, many other amazing shows on Parapost Network Central, Parapost International, which we are on today, obviously, because Scott's here by default. So, and you can also see some amazing podcasts and vodcasts on Paralinks 1, 2, 3, and Plus. Go check them out. And of course, Fear Fest. Howard did an amazing job with Fear Fest this year. Hopefully, we'll be doing it next year. But you won't know until you go check it out on Facebook. Go check it out. Follow them for all the updates. And of course, Global Ghost Hunt, which I'm hoping. I don't know, Scott. If you've probably heard of Global Ghost Hunt.
I've heard it. We with Rosie Cardy on the other night, and we were talking about it. The Girl Gang. We Rosie on, and she was talking about her experiences. I think it was last weekend. There, she was at.
It was about 2 weekends ago. Yeah, it was, and she did phenomenal. Cool Gang did an amazing job for the Global Ghost Hunt at the Great Ladies Mausoleum. I love that place. That's on my bucket list now too. But what about paranormal history? Are you guys going to be signing up?
You like to put somebody in the spot, don't you?
Yeah, you know.
What I'll do is I'll have a word with the co-founder in the team. I don't see any reason why we can't sign up. Brian's a really nice gentleman. You yourself, you're okay.
Yeah.
It's one of the moments, and it's. What do you think of this? His face tells it all. But I would say yes, but I will speak to the team because we like to do everything, which TV's the way it should be. I consult the team about everything. Don't get me wrong, there'll be a lot of time I'll go off on a flyer and say, right, we're getting this or we're doing this. But that's usually, you get the ideas that just kind of pop into your head. You could be washing the floor or something like that, just hanging out your washing. I've got an idea.
Yeah.
They just parachute in.
I'm dangerous. I'm dangerous when it comes to ideas. Really dangerous. But no, if you guys are not just paranormal history, but anybody, if you're interested in joining Global Ghost Hunt, if you have a team or a location, join up. It's a great way to promote yourself, and honestly, it's a celebration of teams and locations from all over the world. Get a chance to show you what you can do. Show the world what you can do. Show off these beautiful locations. If your location you just don't have a team, sign up anyway. Screw it. Why not? Celebrate. Promote yourself out. And if you're a one-man show, you don't have a team, sign up anyway. And one thing I do want to hit on came up in conversation a couple of days ago. If you can't make it to the dates of the event, that's perfectly fine. You can record. You can record your investigation and send it in to us, and we will still show you during those dates. The only thing we ask is no intros, no outros, no editing, no nothing. Just raw footage. 2 hours of raw footage. That's all we need. And you'll be promoted out. It's that simple. And it's a lot of fun, to be honest with you. It really is a lot of fun. So
Well, I've wrote it down to remind me.
But no, it really is. And I will say this. We have some new things coming. We have some new things coming to the Global Ghost Hunt. Brian and myself will be announcing it on a GGH Live coming up here, hopefully in the next week or so. That you guys will not want to miss. It's going to be game changing, and it's really going to be a lot of fun. Really a lot of fun. So, all right, so back to you.
Back to me, okay.
We spoke a little bit about the history. How fun is that? Paranormal and history of yourself, brother. What about the future? Let's change gears. What is going on with paranormal and history?
Where are we headed? You mean it's no one of the old where do you see yourself in 5 years' time questions, is it?
No, just what's going on? What's going on with paranormal and history? What do you guys have planned?
Between now and Xmas, we're quite a few podcasts planned. I can say Scott is only being nice because I'm in the. It's my gran had this saying many years ago. Bless her. She was about 4'2", and she said it was bite my arse. I think that's what she said. That's what it was. Eileen, got your name right that time, dog. Got your name right. We'll be quite the Normandy cemeteries are very striking, poignant, and sad and beautifully kept. And Brian says he's laughing his arse off. So there's no be able to bite it there if it falls off.
Well, to be honest, Scott, in fair play, Brian is going to be in a meeting with yours truly after the show, so he's going to get some payback. Speaking of ideas, I've got about, let's see, what am I up to now? 5? Yeah, about 5 different ideas to run by him.
Good. So stick it. Stick it to him.
He'll get his.
Take the lid off the pen first. It hurts more.
By the way, folks, we mean this out of love. We love Brian.
Certainly. What we're doing, we've got quite a few podcasts with some interesting guests coming up before Christmas. Hey, Annabelle. We see the thing about where we live, no doubt it's the same over there. It's the weather hits us quite a wee bit. And we had a big investigation planned at Halloween, which we had to call off because the weather was just crap. Yeah. I hate when I get asked what we got coming up because it's on my head, but I can't get it out. There's it's kind of like a block. We were going out this weekend with Phantom Seekers, but we had to put that off we're out there on the 25th. Investigating at Dunfermline Abbey with Phantom Seekers and Whispering Soul Paranormal and Spig with 4 teams, 1 investigation. So it's a beautiful, absolutely beautiful weekend. We've been twice just to visit. It's absolutely, there's pictures up the page actually. Our Wallace Trail, I have to be nice because I will be in Scotch side. Then your ass is mine, sunshine. Know what I'm saying in that, as we say in Scotland. Know what I'm saying in that, son. No. We're trying to get. It's going to be next year now. Our Wallace Trail Forgotten Braveheart off the ground.
Nice.
Basically, that's the story. Everybody's seen the film Braveheart. Fantastic film. I've seen it many times. But that just gives you the basics, who William Wallace was, what he did, how he was executed. But what we are trying to do, we're teamed up with the Society of William Wallace here in Scotland, and we're trying to bring out tell the story behind the man. There's a lot of places in Scotland that Wallace was associated with that people don't actually know about.
Okay.
So we're going to be filming that and putting that together. David Espinosa for CRA Entertainment, he's going to be kind of overseeing it.
Very nice.
He's on board with that. So we've had a couple of start dates this year, but you know, illness or weather, there's always something pops up. You know, so we're aiming for around February to start that, because the weather should tend to pick up a wee bit then, because most of the locations are outside.
Yeah.
So we've got that. We have. We're going to be carrying on with Loudon Kirk. That's been going for about 2 years. We've got a lot to come there. We've got it'll be good to see the real walls and not the. Well, that's exactly it. I mean, that's what that's what we're trying to do. That's why we're calling it kind of Forgotten Braveheart, even though Braveheart was the name associated with Robert the Bruce, which I learned off of Nicola. It's just, as I say, there's a lot to Wallace that people don't know, and it deserves to be, outed and put there for people to see. Loudon Cup, we're still going to be carrying on with that. We're lucky enough we've had permission, we can investigate the entire Dempster farm, basically, the farmland surrounding it as well. So, that's going to take some time. That's going to be quite a few investigations, which we're really happy about. And we've got guests booked up until February, yourself as well, and Brian is coming on,
That's news to me, but yeah, anytime, brother, anytime. And Brian will say this. Brian gave me this unofficial title, and I love it, by the way. I've ran with it. He calls me a podcast whore, and I am. If I get a link, I'm going to be there.
Exactly, but we are taking a break at Christmas. I don't know if a lot of teams do, but to me, Christmas time, you're busy. It's family time and stuff. So I say taking a break, but usually you're on your phone, if somebody's talking to you or something. There'll be one show over between Christmas and New Year. That's that lady, that singer I was talking about. She's releasing a new album. Around about Christmas time, so she wants to do a show just to promote the album and get some, for her to do some songs on the show as well. But there's quite a wee bit in the pipeline, heading into 2024. And
now, I'm assuming what you guys are doing for Wallace is going to be a series. It's not just going to be just one podcast or one thing. It's going to be like a whole big series on it, or
as I spoke to I forgot to tell you, Matt, about that.
Appreciate it.
You're coming on with Brian.
That'll be bad for him.
That's now you know. It's going to be we take a couple of weeks off over Christmas. My birthday greeting, Christmas Day. Don't worry, I will send you at New Year, Eileen. Don't worry. I will send you at New Year's Eve. I won't forget. It's going to be maybe 3 or 4. I don't want to call them episodes. It's going to be 3 or 4 different. But we're going to try and do it in a kind of documentary sort of style. We'll be filming, and the society will be taking us to different locations. We've already been out with them and visited some of them. And we'll be filming name, giving name. They'll be giving us the real story behind, these locations sort of thing. And then I've been talking to them about maybe slipping in a couple of investigations at these locations as well.
I was just going to ask. Tell me there's going to be some investigating to be done. I'd hope so.
I've been sort of dropping the hints, and the convener at the society, he's quite keen. He's quite on board with the whole investigation idea. So we will be sticking. I mean, we're not going to contact William Wallace or anything like that. But I mean, these locations, they're hundreds of years old. As you've got as well, and just that
is my mother-in-law.
She's asking where you're Shelley. I'm originally from Glasgow.
Scotland.
in Scotland. That's probably how you cannot understand me.
Little accent. And actually, Mom is from upstairs. She's upstairs right now.
She's obviously.
She's upstairs. Hey, Pam. Welcome.
Hey, Pam, though. So we're going to be doing some investigations because there's so much history there, and it's seen, especially around about the Stirling area, that's seen so much bloodshed. You know, you get the Battle of Stirling Bridge, the Battle of Bannockburn, even they two locations themselves. There's so much history there, and so who knows what will turn up? We don't know. As you know yourself, Matt, you never know.
Yeah,
you know,
you
we
really don't.
We go investigations and we don't expect anything. We hope, but we don't expect. Because,
like you said, it's like fishing. You know, we go out to these locations, and you want to get stuff, but some nights they just don't want to talk to you. They don't. It may be there's a time difference. It may just be they just don't like you. Maybe they don't have enough energy. We don't know. We don't know exactly what happens and why they react to us, and sometimes they don't. It could be a many different things. Prime example, Penhurst. The Wiki Queen and I did that for the May investigation of Global Ghost Time. Mind you, it was recorded. We went in March. But I was expecting, and it's Penhurst. I mean, most people here in the States, they hear Penhurst, it's like, ooh, really haunted. We got a couple of things, but it wasn't, all hell breaking loose. Mm-hmm. We did Voodoo Authentica for the Global Ghost Hunt this October. This past October, we were down in New Orleans doing that. And Howard and them were saying that it's a lot of fun. Like it's very active. Besides getting told that they wanted me to leave a couple of times, we really didn't get much. A couple of weird EMF spikes, but it was fun.
We get that here. You go to locations and sitting for hours in the cold and dark with nothing is open. We were talking about that last night. You get these teams who say, "Oh, we were out investigating and we had a crap night." Rubbish. To me, there's no such thing.
No.
Not unless you get absolutely drowned with the rain, or you fall into it's quicksand, or your car blows up or something, and you can say that's crap. But other than that, you're still there. You might not even get a flash of a cat ball, whatever. But it's still the experience. You're out doing what you love doing. And again, it's like fishing. You're out there, and it can be relaxing as well.
It really is.
And the thing I love is the anticipation, because you just don't know.
See, for me, absolutely, Mom, 100%. If they want to, it just depends. It really depends. I think for me, the main thing, and this is one of the reasons, that we try to strive for in Global Ghost Hunt, for me, it's the location. And like you said before, you go to these places and you're in these historical locations. Like we were in New Orleans. New Orleans has a lot of history, a lot of dark history, a lot of good history. But it's really, there's so much. Gettysburg's another one that we're doing for Parent Unity Day. Think about it. Thousands of people lost their lives, and you're standing right there.
Where it happened.
You're in that spot. Penhurst, there was a lot of tortures. There was a lot of, ill-begotten things that happened. Anywhere. You can name any location, and even a cemetery. There's history there. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of people say, oh, well, there's nothing that happened on my land. Bullshit. What was there before recorded history?
Exactly.
It's not just what's recorded. Gettysburg's a good example. You cannot sit there and tell me they recorded every second of every day. Nobody was walking around doing this, following everybody around, writing down what they were saying, what they were doing, interviewing everybody. They weren't doing that. You don't know. And it's just so much fun to just stand there and take that all in and to think of outside the box. Yeah, you're out investigating. Yeah. most of the time we're in the dark, talking to yourself in a dark room. Cool. But it's more than that.
But then, are you actually talking to yourself? You know, some locations are overwhelmed with their presence and ambient. That's very, very true.
Agreed.
You know, I've often said to people, you know, you could be in an investigation and you could be sitting on a bench and there could be somebody sitting right next to you.
Mm-hmm.
And if as that lady says, Shelley says, you know, the contact button, if they don't want to talk to you, then you're getting nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you could have, you know, somebody on either side of you sitting on the bench, just sitting looking at you.
Yeah.
But if they're not in the mood to talk, then you're going home with nothing. So, you know, if you're in a dark room or an empty room, you don't know if you could be yourself, maybe not, you know. Just what Eileen was saying about locations. I've been to the Tower of London, and the history there, it dates back to the 11th century, but it was built originally by William the Conqueror. But in some of the old cells, you know, you can get into the place and walk around it. On the wall, they've got, you could call it graffiti.
Yeah.
It's scraped into the wall. No doubt use it over there.
Yeah.
And it's for people who were held prisoner back in Tudor times. You know, they were held by Henry VIII in the Tower for whatever reason. And they've carved their name, and you see the date as well. You know,
Mm-hmm.
John such and such, 1527. And you're looking at it, this was a guy he was a prisoner here because there was no other reason for somebody. You were a prisoner and that was it. So this was a guy, he was a prisoner and he was probably executed. Because 99% of the time, if you went to the Tower, you went in one way, but you came out the other way.
Yeah.
End of story. So this guy was probably beheaded or hung, drawn, and quartered or whatever. And it's, you know, it's morbid, but it's fascinating at the same time.
It really is. And, you know, I've always found it interesting from our brothers and sisters over the pond, you know, you guys sit there and a lot of people are jealous and they say, oh, well, you know, my bucket list top tier place is in America. You know, they want to go to the places like Penhurst, Gettysburg, Queen Mary. They start naming off all these places, which is good. They're good locations. Don't get me wrong. But for me, you guys have the better area. You guys have the history. You guys have that history. I mean, yeah, we could go to some Native American reservations, or you never know where, you know, because before America was discovered, the Native Americans were here. I mean, yeah, there's history there, but you guys have a lot better, in my opinion. You're much more rich in history, and to me, it would be like a paranormal candy store. I just run around just my recorder and everything all the time, just recording everything.
I know you're totally right. You know, I mean, we're older than you. I'm not talking personally. I don't know the days, but you know, history-wise, we're older. But what I find over here, what we love doing is, excuse me, cough. We like going to small locations. You get these teams over here. No disrespect to them. No that you get them over there. They only want to go to the big locations, the most haunted. And to me, that's a load of bollocks. Do you know what I mean? Because my way of thinking is, and I want your thoughts on this as well, Matt. We like to go to the small, like Loudon Kirk. It's a small Kirk card in the middle of the countryside. You know, you maybe get half a dozen people pass it every day. It's a country road it sits on. But the amount of activity and evidence we've had there is, you know, it's unbelievable. And I think to really try and get in touch with the paranormal spirit, go to the small locations, because that's where you're most likely to get evidence. We've done a couple of big ones and nothing. And my train of thought is we get more evidence going to small locations because nobody ever goes. So you get spirits there that maybe think there's somebody came to see us.
Yep.
Came to visit us. We've never seen anybody here before. We'll go and say hello.
Yeah.
It might sound nuts, but at the end of the day, it could be that simple.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm in full agreement. I mean, don't get me wrong. I absolutely loved Penhurst. Penhurst and everywhere I've been, they're beautiful locations. Absolutely beautiful. And they deserve the utmost respect. And we've seen this in the global ghost hunt. You may get a couple pieces from these big name locations, but it's the unknown ones that are getting the better evidence. Like Ghoul Gang, we talked about them earlier. The Great Ladies Mausoleum. Brian and Lex had some really good evidence, and Ghoul Gang followed up, and not a lot of people know about that place. Everybody knows about the big names, but not a lot of people know about the little ones. And to me, if I'm a spirit and I'm in these like little lesser known areas, and a team comes in to talk to me, I will be more willing to talk to them. I'll be excited.
Aye.
Just like you said, you almost feel like that they might feel like they're forgotten, but then you get a couple of interesting people come in with the equipment, and we start talking to them. We teach them, and train. I don't want to say train. We teach them about the equipment and what it does. They'll be more willing to talk to you.
Exactly. I 110%. It's like Caldwell. I mean, Caldwell is 280 acres. It's an estate, but not a lot of people know about it.
Yeah,
because it's totally surrounded by forests, and there's only one small gate takes you into it, and so people drive by it every single day. And when we first went, we couldn't find anything on YouTube or Facebook of any paranormal teams that had been there before. And I don't mean that in the sense that, we wanted to be first, no, nothing like that. But we thought, well, we're going to go to this place called, let's have a wee look to see, give us maybe a rough idea. But nobody had done it before, to our knowledge. And we get evidence for the first investigation to the last, and we must have done about over 20 investigations there, and we managed to build up a picture. And was that simply because nobody had bothered with them before?
Yeah, no, 100%. Now, speaking of locations, my mother-in-law, Shelley, is asking, what is the most haunted place you've ever investigated in your country, in Scotland?
I would say it was it's a choice between Loudon-Kirk and Caldwell.
Okay.
The lesser known locations. We've done Greyfriars, Kirkyard. Before we found out about the ban, Greyfriars Kirkyard is reported to be the most haunted kirkyard in the world. We get nothing. I've watched teams go in on YouTube and they'll walk in the gate and right up. Oh, that was paranormal. Did you hear that? Did you see that? That's paranormal. Bollocks! It's not paranormal. It was a bird. One of your team farted, something like that. We've done, and we've had nothing. We investigated the Covenanters prison, which joins onto the Kirkyard. There's over 3,000 reports, documentary reports of attacks in that prison. But there definitely is an atmosphere as soon as you get through the gates into the prison. Or nice white Canadians.
I know what you're talking. I know what you're talking about because mentioned Gettysburg. It's the same way. When you get to Gettysburg, and it's not just the battlefield or anything. It's that whole area. And now, mind you, it's all farmland on the outskirts. It's all farmland, and you just get into that city limits, and you just feel that energy. And I don't have any gifts or abilities or anything like that. Like, I'm not a medium or anything, but even me, like, I can feel it. Like, you see that sign Gettysburg 1 mile, and it's like the whole atmosphere changes. The whole environment changes, and I don't know how those people live down there, to be honest with you, with all that energy. But I know exactly what you're talking about.
I mean, take some of the best locations are small and seemingly mundane, but I was totally correct. Excuse me. Take Greyfriars, for instance. Greyfriars sits more or less in the centre of Edinburgh, and it sits on one of the busiest, hi Anthony, one of the busiest routes in and out of the city. Every day there's cars, buses, lorries, you name it, up and down, up and down. As soon as you step in the gates, you feel like you're back in the 16th century.
Mhm.
You just feel like you've stepped back in time. But you turn around and you can see all the traffic, and get back, and then when you go through, there is an atmosphere there, but it's a calming one.
Yeah.
As soon as you go into the Covenanters prison, you walk through a gate, basically, the atmosphere totally changes again.
Now,
Now, it could be up here.
I was just going to say, do you think, because obviously, like I said about Gettysburg, but Pennhurst was like that too. Even New Orleans was like that. Do you think it's the hype that's doing it, like the anticipation of the paranormal that does it to us? Or do you think it's actually the location itself?
To me, that's a hard one, because I felt, and I'm not a medium or anything like that at all, but I felt the difference in the atmosphere. I forgot the word.
We didn't write it down. It's all right. We don't have a script, so it's okay.
Thank you for that. But what you do, you walk into the Covenanters prison, you know what's happened there, you know the history. It's just sheer brutal in there, what happened in there. And so I've asked myself that as well. Sometimes, is it just up here because or is it because there is actually an atmosphere? And then that goes to the argument, don't look into the history of a place before you go to it. But we've done that much in Edinburgh since day one. It was hard for us not to know about it. But it could be, I dare say it's a 50-50 one, that it could be because about the place. It's the same as Bannockburn, the Battle of Bannockburn, where Robert the Bruce defeated the English in 1314.
Mm-hmm.
We've been onto the battle, the actual battlefield, and it's quite solemn, as you were saying about Gettysburg. Culloden, that's another battlefield as well, up in Inverness way. But you step on the Bannockburn, and it's it's quite solemn. And now, is that just because you know what took place there?
Yeah. And see, I've been to several locations like this, and I don't think I've ever mentioned this on one of the shows. But for those of you who know, I said it earlier, I was in the military. I was in the Navy in a group called the Seabees Construction Battalion. Again, that's, World War II is when the Seabees were created. It's when we were established. We were all told that, we may have earned our patches because we had a patch on our uniform that said Seabees, but we could not consider ourselves Seabees until we went to, there's two museums, Seabee museums. There's one in Mississippi and there's one in California. Until we went and actually paid our respects to the Seabees that came before us. And this is before paranormal, way before paranormal. I went, I took my family up. They came out for a visit. We went up to the museum, and just the feeling that I got being there, it wasn't just the museum. I felt like I was connecting with these individuals because they had memorabilia and they had artifacts from before. And, just seeing it, it's humbling. I keep saying, I said that earlier, it is humbling, that these people make their mark in history like this. Mm-hmm. And now being in the paranormal field, it's kind of putting the puzzle piece together, like you've said. You go to these locations and you actually see it. You see the location. At Pennhurst, they still have a lot of the stuff from that time, and you see it close up and right there, and it's like somebody was sitting like in a wheelchair. Somebody was sitting there. A patient mm-hmm. of theirs was sitting in this chair. And then it leads into what's their story. And most of there was a lot of children there too. And if you saw my live from Penhurst, they were borderline tortured. And you sit here and you think about that. Or even Gettysburg. People find musket balls. Still to this day, they're finding musket balls in Gettysburg. And you don't know, was it just a miss? Did this go through somebody? Is this the killing shot? You don't know, and to see it firsthand, it's different. It takes a whole new perspective.
It's very, I can relate to that in so many ways. I mean, it's a Hampton Court Palace. You get to they call it the Haunted Gallery with Catherine Howard, Henry's fifth wife. When she was arrested for treason. Well, she was having an affair actually, but it was regarded as treason. And she broke away from her guards to try and reach Henry, who was at prayers in the chapel. But she was caught and dragged back to the rooms. And she said to this day, you can still hear screams and that. But when you're standing in that one part and thinking, this is where Catherine Howard ran along, and obviously Henry and the other lady, but I think this is where she was actually dragged along this corridor. And then you get into the Great Hall where, not just Henry, but many other kings as well. But Henry VIII would hold his banquets and, hold court, what have you. And he used to sit, there, and you'd have everybody doing this, standing to the side. And it's really, it's mind-blowing. Even when you're saying about wee bits and pieces being found with the Loudon cottages, the owners, he keeps finding bits of pottery and, little bits of metal and stuff. And they go back to the 1800s, some of these things.
Yeah.
And he sends his photographs and we've been up, we've seen them, and you think, well, this was once a plate. So who ate off us? It might sound stupid, it might sound to most people, but you think, who used this plate? Exactly.
And it's, to me, and again, it goes back to paranormal investigators being active historians. That's exactly what we're doing. We are interacting with history in real time, and people, and to me, without the technology, we are time traveling. If you want to put it that way, we are actively time traveling back to that time period. And it's not just one point in history. It's a whole plethora of an era. It's a whole section of time that we are visiting at one particular moment. And, it's fascinating. And I think that's what really drives this field, that curiosity. It's the evidence. I mean, let's be honest. We all get evidence. We get excited. Who doesn't? But you said about fishing. It's the same thing. You may catch a great big fish. I mean, I've caught a couple of really good ones. But some of my favorites and my favorite moments are the locations. To me, I don't know how much fishing you do, brother, but I do a lot of trout fishing. And here in Pennsylvania, we have little creeks. You need to come here. I'll take you. We have creeks. And if you guys can imagine this, standing in the middle of a creek, that's maybe, let's say, 30, 40 feet wide. So a pretty decent sized creek. You're in the mountains. There's mountains all around you. There's forest. All you hear is that running water, and you're standing right in the middle of it. I'm telling you, folks, that is a whole new experience. And it is so relaxing. And it's the same way in the paranormal. You get to these locations, and it's just it's awe-inspiring.
It's very... I remember there's a place to Dalquharn Castle, it's called. It's not actually a castle as such. It's a massive stately home. And there's a huge basement and a big long corridor. We did an investigation with Spig one night, and there was about 10 or something there, but I decided I went down this basement myself. I said, I'm going to go sit down in the basement, be alone vigil for, about half an hour or something. Now, it's pitch black, you cannot see. We've been in during the day, so the rough idea where I was going.
Yeah.
But you're sitting in this long corridor underneath this huge building, and you can't see your hand, and there's not a sound, and there's no signal, so I couldn't go live or anything, so your phone's pretty useless. and you're just sitting there and you're just looking about, and it's just so. A lot of people are like, you're nuts. You can do that yourself. Anything could have happened. You could have seen a ghost. That always gets me. Well, that's why I'm there. You know.
Yeah, that's kind of the point.
And you know, you could have, a ghost could have come out and said, well, that's what I was wanting.
That's the idea.
But it was so relaxing. You know,
I love it.
Just sitting there listening. And I never got anything, nothing happened. But it was just the whole experience of being there.
Mm-hmm.
And
No,
that's why I love the dark places. Give me a big, long, dark corridor or a dark basement or something.
You need to come to Penhurst. I need to take you to Penhurst. They have a challenge to where there's this underground tunnel where they used to take, I guess, the bodies, and they used to take a couple. Like they just use it for transporting things. But anyway, you go down there with no flashlight, no equipment, and you just stand in this hallway. They basically shut you in, and it's this tunnel, and it is just like you said, pitch black. Can't see your hand in front of your face. Apparently, no one's been able to last more than 15 minutes.
I'd love to try something like that.
See, all the more reason to come over the pond. See?
But as I said, it's the driving time.
Hey, just head north. You'll be all right.
Okay. If I go north, I'll eventually run out of Scotland.
There you go. Or you know what? Just keep going east. Keep going east. You'll get there.
I'll eventually run out of Ayrshire. But
that's the shortcut.
That's the whole, to me, that's a big part of the plain and simple investigating in a dark basement, no fancy gadgets or anything, just sitting and listening. You know, you get these teams out there, and some of them, you think they were going to war with Iraq or something, the amount of stuff that they take. I don't know how much you carry about. Are you one of them?
I'm yes and no. We do have I don't say a lot of equipment. We've got enough. We got like all the basic necessities. But realistically, I'm happy with a flashlight, my phone, and a camera. Because any more of the phones, they have everything you need. They have a digital camera, video camera, and they have a voice recorder. I mean, I have backups. You know, I have other voice recorders, and I have, actual cameras, and, we have, different things. But for the most part, I just use my body. I let my body tell me where to go. Like, and I know you know the feeling. You walk into a building or a location, and you're just like, something's telling me to go this way. I don't know why, but my attention's in this area. I want to go there. And then once you go there, okay, well, now I want to go over here. And you just bounce. And that's how we did Penhurst. I mean, Voodoo Authentica was beautiful, don't get me wrong. But it's a shop. So it's an actual shop that, you can only go so far. Penhurst is huge. A lot of buildings, a lot of rooms. And that's what Mackenzie and I did. We just, where do we want to go? Screw it, let's go this way. But before we get going, because you and I could be here for literally hours. I know this. You and I could be here for hours. My mother-in-law, Shelly, is actually asking, do you think the animals can sense the paranormal?
Definitely, I do. I'll tell you why. We recently moved house. We've only been in this house about 2 months, but our old house, we'd done a couple of investigations in there, and we think we had at least 3 spirits. We did get a capsule in the laser grid, which we can't explain. I'm going back a couple of years. But our cats would just sit and stare at certain parts of the house, whether it be a corner or into the hallway. And you can see they were watching something. I hate using the word something. That's the other thing that gets me in investigations, when people say there's something over there. There's no something over. There's someone.
There you go.
It's different if you hear a noise. You can say, right, I heard something. Because that could be, the noise could be anything.
Yeah.
But, when people say, oh, there's something in that close, no, there's no. That person's still a person. There's someone over there. But you could tell they were looking at someone.
See,
who it was, we don't know.
And Mom, I don't know if you're still in the room. I don't know if you can hear me up there. Scott and I were talking about our cats earlier, behind, backstage. And my one cat, Riku, he's a black and white tuxedo. I call him my Floop. He's literally this little fluff ball. Imagine a fluffy tuxedo. That's him.
Right.
Sadly, Mackenzie's one cat, Lucian, we had to put down. He had cancer, we found out. Not too long after he was put down, and by the way, we do let the cats say goodbye to the other ones. Not too long after, my cat, Riku, who's still here, would stop just walking. Like, you know what cats do. They just, they patrol the house.
Mhm.
They're in charge. He would stop. And if you don't know cats, when they curl their tail in like a question mark, that's a happy. That's like a greeting. That's how they're greeting each other. He'd be walking down the hallway, stop dead in his tracks, and the tail would go from swishing back and forth to the curl. And he'd just stand there, just staring at that one spot, and he'd just curl. And to this day, I still feel like her cat Lucian is still around. He's hanging around here somewhere. Same thing with another cat we had to put down. Her name was Toothpaste. She had some issues. She was a stray. She was she had some bad health things. Real young cat, not even a year old. And to this day, her favorite spot was in Mackenzie and I's room. Cats will just be sitting there and all of a sudden just look right to where her favorite spot was.
Mm-hmm.
And they would just sit there and stare, and then just the tail.
It's really bizarre. I mean, just quick story. My dad, he passed away in 95, but he had two Chihuahuas. And one was, quite friendly. You would come up and, lick your hand and stuff. I've seen several times on my bed. The other one was a little bastard. She was a French. This thing, I mean, they were about that size, but this thing was vicious. And every time I'd get into the house, it had to be locked in the kitchen. You just could not let this. So the night my dad passed away with 20 to 12 at night, and I was up the hospital and I brought my stepmom home to their house. And I sat in my dad's chair, and stepmom said, "I'll make a cup of coffee." I said, "That'd be great." And she went out of the kitchen, but she forgot to shut the door.
Yeah.
And I heard the running, and I thought, "Oh shit, here we go. I'm going to get mutilated. I'm dead here," But it never. He jumped up on my lap and started cuddling into me.
Hmm.
And it never, as I say, it was a vicious little bastard, this thing. But and when I saw him running, I thought, all right, time up. But up he came, and every time I visited after that, he was my best friend.
Aww. That's
And
awesome.
I thought, well, was that my dad? My dad told him, right, that's my son, you better behave, or, whatever. It was just so bizarre on the night that my dad passed that this dog totally changed.
Yeah. And, even in, investigating homes, a lot of people in investigative teams, they talk to the family members, which is good. You're supposed to. But the one question they don't ask is, have you noticed a change in your animals? Cat, dog, bird, goldfish, hamster, whatever. Ask that. Ask that question, because that could tell you a lot. You're missing a lot of information by not asking that.
Mm-hmm.
And, cats are weird by themselves, so are dogs. They're just
weird.
But if you notice something that's not the normal, what is it not in their normal chaos? Do they just freeze all of a sudden and just stare? Is that something they just usually don't do? Or like this, has the dog changed? And it's questions like that that'll really help put those pieces of the puzzle together.
David, and I do think animals, do sense, if somebody's about. Definitely.
100%. All right, brother. Well, sadly, we're going to wrap it up, but damn well you're coming back.
I'll have a shave the next time.
Okay. do your face up, get a haircut, you know, the whole nine.
No, I said I'd have a shave. That was it.
All right, brother. So where can they find you and Paranormal and History?
Just on Facebook. So we get 3 teams: a Scottish team, American team, and an Australian team. You just find us in Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok, and that's it. Really.
All right, and if you guys want help finding, links are in the description. So go ahead, give them a click, give them a like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Because someone like him on the team, you know, it's going to be a good time.
Oh, thanks very much. Thanks very much.
Right.
I do try. Thank you for having me.
Hey, brother, you are always welcome. And next time, we should really get together more often.
We should, we should make it a regular thing. There's just too big a gap.
Yeah, and maybe we can get some of the lovely ladies from the team in. Get on in front of the camera.
Well, I'll certainly I'll just issue some orders, you know. Eileen in the chat, her and Nicola as well. They'd be 2 nice ladies to go on your show. They're Scottish as well. You'd be fucked.
Get the whole team. Get the whole team on. Fuck it, let's go. Let's have some fun. But thank you, Eric.
But many thanks. I tell everybody who's watched as well. Thanks very much.
Yes, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. I know I appreciate it. Scott appreciates it. Hopefully, you guys learned something. If you didn't, fuck it. I hope you had a good time. I don't know. It'll probably be. Maybe I'll do something Saturday. I don't know. But definitely next Wednesday, guys, tune in for the Paraverse podcast because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I never do. I don't know who's going to be on. We're going to have some fun. If you're interested, just shoot me a message. So I guess there's only one more thing left for me to say. Y'all have yourselves a great rest of your night. Have fun. Stay safe, guys. And as always, you know the rest. Happy hauntings.
Bye.